The following program is intended for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Look at Greg, a rare appearance in the pro wrestling subforum.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? I was watching that clip of Chris Jericho and Kevin Smith, and they were promoting the new Jay and Silent Bob movie. And they talked about AEW a little bit, and I thought, well, that's great, because I think there should be good, healthy competition. And I don't know if AEW is positioning themselves as the alternative, or if they're just like, look, we're doing our own thing, and whatever happens, happens, which is the way Jericho kind of played it. So I don't know. But I'm glad it's there.
No, they've been getting 1 million viewers regularly per week on TNT, so
that's really good. And I'll just say this about Chris Jericho. He's got a podcast that's excellent. If you haven't heard it, check it out.
Jericho is amazing. He's just fantastic.
And, Kevin Smith is sometimes an acquired taste. I like him, but, I don't know that I like his movies as much as I like him. But it was a cool clip. If you get a chance to watch it, people should, because they talk about the wrestling. And like I said in the thread, Mike, that, Kevin Smith, not a wrestling fan. I'm probably a bigger fan than he is. And he called the show dazzling is the word he used. And he said that it was like really a lot of fun. He goes, I totally marked out when somebody hit the wall, that fence that they have up. He's like, oh my God, this person needs help. He didn't get it. That like it was, I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway,
I mean, AEW's been on for 3 weeks, and I've been watching it, and it's been fun. So
does it have a chance to go like WCW Supernova here, or are we just looking at like a decent alternative to the WWE?
Probably a decent alternative, It's got its fans. It's been doing well. It's been outdrawing WWE's Wednesday show.
Which is what, that NXT Next show or whatever, yeah?
NXT, yeah. WWE NXT, which airs on Wednesdays, which WWE put specifically to try to cut into AEW's viewership. AEW got the Wednesday time slot first, and then WWE counter-programmed.
My understanding from what I could parse out of the thread was that the next thing is kind of like a closed system, like a Mac.
It is, yeah.
Like there's not, it's the same people and all that. And
well, I mean, that's one of the reasons you watch the two shows, and you can watch them on Wednesday because NXT and AEW go head to head, and AEW tours, so they're in a new arena each week, right? Yeah. And they're usually not the biggest arenas in the market, but they're always full, and they always look like they're generally pretty rocking. And then you look at the WWE NXT is in a soundstage, produced in a soundstage at Full Sail University.
Sorry,
branded more art.
Do the students help produce it?
Pardon?
Do the students help produce it? Because that would be a great experience for them. I mean, I'm not joking about that. That would be great if the students got to help out.
I have no idea, but I do know that basically it's it's like the same 400 people who go to these NXT shows each week, and it kind of gets hard to, like, when you're promoting wrestling, if you've paid any attention to the history of pro wrestling, anytime you have a closed niche fan base, it kind of warps what you're able to do.
Right.
Like going back to the 90s, ECW was, you had the WWF and you had WCW as the big two, and then you had ECW, which was this small alternative that ran out of Philly, and they had a very small but dedicated fan base, and the same 400 people would show up to their shows each week, and those people loved it. And then when ECW got a national TV show, it didn't really translate into viewers because, when you've got such a closed system, what works, what those 400 people come to appreciate isn't necessarily going to be indicative of a national thing. And NXT has sort of fallen into that. Also, NXT is kind of hurt by the fact that a lot of people see it as WWE trying to hurt an alternative, so that tends to turn people off. It's a whole thing that I could get into if I wanted to, but I don't want to bore Zach any more than I already have.
I think we've already lost him here. So just
did I black out for a minute? What happened?
Yeah, it's okay. We were just talking wrestling for a second. Just one quick question on AEW, and then we can move on. Who is behind it, Mike? Is Chris Jericho one of the principals, or is he just the guy that wrestles in it?
He's the current champion, but he is not part of the people. He's not part of the team behind it. It's actually interesting because it's being run actually by Cody Rhodes, who is the son of Dusty Rhodes. That might be a name you remember, but the financiers behind it are actually pretty interesting, and it does delve into, I guess, kind of what we do here, because it's Tony Khan and Shad Khan of the Jacksonville Jaguars who are who own and fund this thing.
Okay. Does the logo have a ridiculous mustache?
No, it's not. But
it should.
The potential for a Gardner Minshew crossover is there. So
now we're talking. Now we're talking.
That Beowulf could be his wrestling name.
I was just going to say the same thing. That's a natural, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Gardner Minshew shows up, wrestles on Wednesdays. He's in he and then he's behind center for the Jaguars on Sunday. You could do that.
All right, I would watch that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So AEW, I like Mike said, I was in a thread that I probably really didn't belong in, but I thought it was good that there's an alternative out there.
Well, the only reason I tagged you is because someone was being kind of a hypercritical douche, and I wanted to use your tagline, like "There's no pleasing people." So
it's not, and if I
might as well tag you, and do you justice.
If I have proven one thing on those boards in the the umpteen years I've been there, it's that's true. Nothing else I've ever said, maybe anything else out of like 36,000 posts. The only thing I can state unequivocally as fact is that tagline under my avatar. There's no pleasing people. That is absolutely a fact. But anyway, so do we want to keep up tradition and start with baseball again this week? And
probably should.
The kind of shocking World Series matchup, and I think the one that nobody wanted.
Series.
Yeah. Everybody, I think the networks wanted L.A., New York, and they didn't get that. They got Houston, Washington, which I think is hysterical.
I mean, it's not like these are two podunk markets. I mean,
no, but
DC and Houston are, they're pretty decently sized.
But nationally, it's not going to. I mean, it's going to do great in Houston. It's going to do great in Washington.
Obviously, they could have had New York, LA, and that didn't pan out.
But the Pro Bowl is going to beat it again this year, is what I'm trying to say, basically, to make a long story short.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond the pure market numbers, I think there's still a fair amount of interesting storylines that go along with this thing.
Well,
yeah. Well, can the Washington Nationals? Oh, if the Washington Nationals win a World Series without Bryce Harper, that would just be the perfect thing.
Well, at least they got there without him. I mean, that's something. I think we've seen this. It's been going on for a few years now. I mean, we saw the Caps win. We saw the Blues win. There was a couple others before that where we're like, the Eagles won a Super Bowl. The Cubs. So this is just kind of a natural progression. So now we've got this team that's never been there before playing. I mean, look, you might call the Yankees what you want, but the real Death Star in the American League is the Houston Astros. My God, they're good. But
nobody seemed to develop the same hate for them. Like, hell, I'm in the same division as the Astros.
Yeah.
I don't hate them.
No, because
I just think that they're just very good at what they do.
Right, and they didn't buy their way to it. I mean, they spent some money here and there, right. but they really developed a really, really good team. And back when they were tanking and just, we're gonna hit reset on the whole thing, it looked pretty bad. And what people tend to forget with this sort of thing, with these rebuilds, they don't always work. But when they do, they're pretty special to watch. And the Astros are, I think, one of the better success stories of a team we're going all prospects and we're going to just rebuild the thing from the ground up. And look what it's gotten them. And that doesn't always happen. And you've seen teams try it. pretty much everywhere outside of the big markets. They blow it up. We're going to, God, the Marlins have been doing it for how long now? I mean, pretty much their entire existence, except for the 2 times that they accidentally won a World Series. And it doesn't work, So I don't hate them either. It's hard to hate a team that does it like that. It's easy to hate the Yankees and the Red Sox because they just throw money at everything. But as usual, I have to bring this up. And this was funny because I was actually watching the game and still missed Altuve's home run. I don't know how I did it, but I was like, okay, because it was the Yankees taking the lead. I'm like, all right, I'm going to kind of I don't want to watch them win this and force a Game 7. And then the Astros tied it up. I'm like, well, these Astros, they always do something special, so I better pay attention. And for 30 seconds, I looked away from the TV, just long enough for him to hit the home run, and I missed all of it live. I caught it all on the replay. I heard it, but I didn't see it. By the time I looked up, he was already crossing the plate.
Greg, just don't watch sports, and and everybody else would be great for it.
Yeah, right?
Every game would be, Game 7 of the World Series.
Right, because if I'm watching and I quit watching, something magical always happens. I miss most of it, but it does happen.
You just need to watch, the first half of every game you watch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and let the rest of us enjoy it.
That's how we save baseball, right? I watch every game halfway through, and they all become fantastic.
Exactly.
There we go. All right, that works. But yeah, I think it's great the Nationals are there. I love the fact that the Astros beat the Yankees. That was cool. And
and they did it in. I mean, the Yankees dominated Game 1, but after that, the Astros do what they've done. All playoffs. The pitching came in, and the Yankees didn't do a damn thing in the next 4 games.
Yeah. It's
nice.
No, I think the Astros are just simply the better team, and now you've got these 2 starting staffs going against each other, and you're like, how are they going to get a hit? You got Scherzer and Strasburg and Corbin for the Nationals, and you've got Verlander and Greinke, and I forget the other one for the Nationals. Garrett Cole, right? Which of the Pirates wish they had him back.
Yeah. He's going to be great in Angel Red next year.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah, well, he's an Orange County kid. I can only hope. But, the pitching matchups are dynamite. They both have it's fun with what is it? The Astros in the playoffs are only batting 178 collectively.
Really?
All they do but when they actually hit, all they do is hit home runs. So they're in this weird spot where both teams are kind of like that, where they both have a flair for the dramatic, they both have dominating pitching, and they both can mash the crap out of the ball. So I think they're better matched up than I think most people would have thought, a few months ago.
Sure.
In terms of what they can both bring. And I think this is going to be a pretty good series. My only fear is that the Nationals get a case of the Colorado Rockies.
Yep.
Luckily for them, the last series didn't go too long, so it's not like the Astros are rolling right off of a dramatic Game 7. They had a dramatic win to clinch it, but they still in theory could not be as cold as say the Rockies were when they lost to the Red Sox after sweeping their way to the World Series and then.
Yeah, well, you know what, too? That Rockies team everybody knew they had no chance against that Red Sox team. I mean, that was just obvious. They just weren't as good. I think these two teams are surprisingly evenly matched. I mean, you wouldn't know it. You would think okay, the Astros are by far superior, but when you really break it down, the starting pitching, I think, cancels each other out. I don't know which one's better, but I'd take either one. They've both got guys that can hit. And it's just, I think it could be a really good series or it could be a really short one. And I hope it's a good one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros took it in 5. I wouldn't be that surprised if the Nats took it in 5. I mean, it just depends on who gets hot when and what happens, but it should be a good matchup. And that's all you can hope for at this point.
I think the real question is where do the loyalties of the nation of Canada lie?
Yeah, Mike, where are we at on this?
Do they root for Les Expos?
I saw a couple Expos jerseys in the crowd after the game.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Mike doesn't care. His team never left.
My team never left. The Blue Jays are still around.
Are there any Montrealers that are masochistic enough to still root for the Nationals?
I wouldn't.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. But the thing is like, there really isn't a lot of animosity either. People just stopped caring.
Yeah, well, because they ran that team into the ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, but yeah, I don't know. It's a situation. I don't think anyone's particularly angry or even necessarily excited. It just is what it is.
I will say, Zach, there are people in this area, few though they might be, that did follow the Browns to Baltimore and become Ravens fans. Now, there are not many of them, but I have seen them. So they do exist. So I'm going to guess that probably the same thing happened with the Nationals. I don't know if there'd be enough to fill a row at a stadium, but they are out there. And
could you imagine somebody walking down the street in Montreal in like one of those red, white, and blue Nationals, like Stars and Stripes monstrosities?
No.
Yeah. I think that's a little different too, because the Nationals are so draped in American iconography,
right?
That, you know, you go from a team that their name was literally French,
yeah,
to as American as a team as you can find outside of the Yankees and maybe like the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, but they're like the Washington Nationals with red, white, and blue everything. It's like how much the nation's capital, you know, Stars and Stripes, the whole bit. So it might be a little tougher to make that transition if you're a Montreal fan, I would guess. But I did see some Expos fans in the crowd, and I just find that strange. I could not root for the Baltimore Ravens. I don't care under any circumstances.
I'm sure they're like Nationals fans that bought the throwbacks.
Yeah,
this year.
Do they now? Do the Nationals? Do the Nationals own the Expos, Mark? I heard that like.
Yeah, no, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, they even have the retired Expos numbers like up in the stadium. Like that is one thing that I think might be a factor. Is that like I don't think the Nationals have ever really tried to like deny that they were the Expos. Like they've even played into it on occasion. I think they wore Expos throwbacks earlier this season, actually.
Yeah, for the first time. Yeah.
Because I'd always heard that the Expos were like the gear, like the marketing stuff, was owned by somebody other than the Nationals.
No, I think it's not. No.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense to me either. But you know, Major League Baseball did take over that team. So
that's how it works in the NHL. Like the NHL technically owns the old Winnipeg Jets and the Hartford Whalers and that sort of stuff, and the Quebec Nordiques. Whereas like the Coyotes and the Hurricanes technically don't.
But they can still wear their stuff if they want to, right?
They have to like approve it with the NHL, but yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so anyway, I don't know what I mean. You know, it starts tomorrow. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Scherzer against Verlander, right?
Well, here's an interesting thing. We're going to do our NBA preview next week just because we didn't have time to prepare. But what gets a better rating tomorrow? The World Series Game 1 or, say, Lakers-Clippers?
I'm going to go with World Series Game 1 barely just because Lakers-Clippers is going to be on so late, isn't it? Or what time's it going to be on?
I think they're starting some of these things a little bit earlier because like I was literally reading a story today where the Lakers have 9 fewer 7:30 p.m. starts this year because they want them to be more accessible to the East Coast market.
Yeah, because you can't stick LeBron James on TV at 10:30 every night and get anything out of it. I mean, that's just a simple fact.
Yeah, but you also can't get people in LA to leave work early for sporting events.
Right. I guess it would depend. Like if the Lakers and Clippers,
I guess it is at 7:30 tomorrow. Pelicans Raptors is the actual opener on at 5:00 Eastern or 5:00 West Coast, 8:00 Eastern time.
No. That's the Raptors are champions and all that, but no, the World Series will beat that game. If you put like Lakers Celtics up against it, maybe not, but yeah, that they should have no trouble with that. Be closer than people are going to be comfortable with, but they will beat that. But I don't think either one's going to pull anything huge. It's just, you know, baseball, we've talked about it before. It's just become so regionalized. If your team's not in it, you just don't care that much.
Yeah, like here, Lakers Clippers is going to get a monster rating, but especially because it's the team that, you know, considering how the Dodgers went out and all that, nobody's going to give a damn about the World Series, I don't think.
I haven't checked. Does Dave Roberts still have a job?
Currently, yeah.
I bet you by spring training he won't be there anymore.
Yeah, I would think so. But,
I don't know, man. But yeah, I think that probably the World Series Game 1 will get the higher rating, but it's not going to be like a blowout, I don't think. We'll see. it's like I said, it's going to do well in its respective markets, but I think nationwide there's probably not a lot of interest in it. You might get a little bit with the Nationals in their first trip, but the people in Chicago don't care about this. They don't care about it in Los Angeles. They don't care about it in San Francisco, Cleveland, Detroit. It's going to be Miami. I don't think they care about baseball at all in Miami. I've said that all along. Unless the Yankees are there, then they might care. But yeah.
As I said when we were talking in the chat before, I was actually, I don't know if I should have been as surprised as I was, but plenty of Astros gear around the greater Houston area as I was there this weekend.
Yeah.
I was actually, you don't think of the Astros as like this dyed-in-the-wool team of its city, but they care a hell of a lot about it.
Well, when they're good, sure. I think that happens everywhere. I mean, is this, am I correct? Is this their third trip to the World Series in 4 years? Or second in 3 years?
Is it? I think it's second in 3 years for sure.
Didn't they lose one, then they won, and then they won it in 17, right?
Yeah.
Because 16 was the Cubs, 15 was, I don't remember. I used to know this stuff off the top of my head with baseball, and I can't even tell you when the 2015 World Series. I don't know. Oh, the Royals, right? Wasn't it the Royals?
Yeah, it's the second. It's second in 3 years because they lost. The Astros lost the ALCS to the Sox last year.
Right.
And then,
okay. So second in 3 years. So same thing happens here. I mean, probably. I think you probably got more like hardcore loyal Indians fans than you do hardcore loyal Astros fans. When the Indians are good, it's everywhere. Oh, look at the Indians. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't know a ball from a strike, so shut the fuck up. But whatever. Yeah, as long as they're getting support, that's great. And what were you doing in Houston anyway? Zach? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. You went robot on me.
Oh, sorry. Am I okay now?
Yes.
All right. I was just asking, what were you doing in Houston in the first place?
I was there for a wedding. My girlfriend was the maid of honor in a wedding on Friday.
Cool.
Had some of the best barbecue I've ever had in my life the next day, too. It was one of those places where the sign says it's open from 11 a.m. until it sells out.
Yeah.
And you have to get the 2 hours of it online. And yeah, it was Texas barbecue. Authentic Texas barbecue. I don't think I can eat California barbecue ever again. I've been ruined.
I don't know if you guys have ever had like Kansas City prime rib, but if you do, you'll never want to eat anything else. It's just, I said, like one of those things. I don't know. We ordered it one year for Christmas. It cost like, it was some ungodly amount. I mean, not like ungodly, but like way more money than I would pay for a piece of fucking beef. But when it got here and my girlfriend cooked it up, I'm like, oh my God, this is good. It was so delicious, man. It was unbelievable. I was like, this stuff is everything they say it is. So I guess that holds true with Texas barbecue too, huh?
Oh, yeah. I got, the brisket I got, cut it with a fork. Like, didn't even need the knife.
Same with the prime rib we got from Kansas City, yeah.
And it was it was seasoned so well. Like, they have a little sauce dispenser, but on the sauce dispenser it says, please try the meat before you have the sauce. And if you do need to use the sauce, you will only need one of these small cups, and probably not even the whole thing. And so I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And then I took a bite of it. I was like, oh, hot damn. And then all I did was just dip my fork into the sauce. Didn't slather it, just slightly dipped it, then put the meat on the fork. My mouth is getting all full of spit as I'm talking about it.
Zach's having a little Pavlovian response here.
Yeah. And then I just had it again. It was like, oh my God. And it was great. The pork rib. Corkscrew barbecue in Spring, Texas, if you ever get a chance.
All right.
Fine food. Fine.
Well,
get there early, too.
Speaking of, real quick, and then we'll move on. Well, wait, who do we like in the World Series? Who are we picking?
Houston.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Nats win, but I mean, this is one I really don't care. I'm happy either way, but I got to go with the Astros. They're really good. What do you think?
Yeah, same. I would love to see the Nationals win for a variety of reasons, but I can't. The smart pick has to be, with the
right.
With the Astros.
Fear not, Washington fans. We're always wrong about this stuff. So, hey, if we pick the other team, you're in good shape. I like. I
also know that it has nothing to do with the rest of the country.
What, the Pac-12?
Yeah,
they've made the playoff because that's who Ohio State beat in 14 was Oregon.
Right. But since then, and Washington made the playoff also, but even when Washington made the playoff, nobody thought that they were going to beat Alabama.
No one ever thinks anybody's going to beat Alabama. That's why to me, beating Oregon to win the national title was the anticlimax. It was like the USA Russia thing in the 80 Olympics. It was like the big one was beating the Soviets, knocking off Finland or Norway. I can't even remember which team it was. Finland, right? Norway? Finland. Who'd they beat in the gold medal game? Finland. So what?
Yeah. Which everyone forgets. Everyone always forgets that.
Well, most people think that
it's not the gold medal game because it was round robin. But yeah,
everybody thinks that when they beat the Soviets, they won the gold, and that's simply not the case. But that's, of course, that makes a better story. But that's not what happened. But to me, that's what it felt like was beating Alabama. That was the prize, and Oregon was just like, okay, don't let up now. Now you got to finish the deal. Same exact feeling, and I hope they get Alabama again this year because I think they'll win again. But other than that, I mean, it's just hard for me to stay interested because we haven't gotten to Tuesday night action yet where I'm going to get to watch a lot of my Rockets, which will be fun. And, Ohio State, I mean, I thought, they played Michigan State? I thought this might be a decent game. No. It was for about 5 minutes. It was interesting. And then the Buckeyes were up like 38-10 before I even knew what happened. I think they've got Wisconsin this week, which might be interesting. But that's probably what happened. That's why Wisconsin lost to Illinois, was because they were looking right past them to the Buckeyes, and you can't do that. Zach, do you know why Ohio State and Northwestern played on a Friday night? Do you have any idea?
It's part of the deal with the TV contracts.
Okay, that's all it was then, just a TV
Fox
deal?
likes having a game on.
All right. Okay.
Like there was a Pac-12 game on Friday night last it's the Big Ten or the Pac-12. That's who they alternate on these Friday night games.
Okay, because it was just weird. I was like, Friday night? Because in Ohio, everybody steps out of the way for high school football, which I think is ridiculous, but okay.
Right, and that's what generally happens everywhere else, but, TV money as it is.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as college football goes this year, I mean, I used to love it, and maybe I will once it gets cooler out. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe somewhere I'll step back in. But this year, I'm just finding it hard to stay with it.
Yeah. Well, again, like I was looking at the rankings, and it's like really the top 5 is all you really need to care about, because I think everybody after that is pretty overrated. And maybe it's not that they're overrated. It's just that college football past that point is not very good, so they're the best of the other teams based on the record. But it's like Florida is the number 7 team in the country right now, and it's like they're not, though. Notre Dame's number 8, and Notre Dame's best win is a tight loss to Georgia, who lost to South Carolina last week, and somehow Notre Dame is ahead of Georgia. So none of that makes sense,
right?
And it's just like, again, once you get past the top, because you have Alabama and LSU. And I can't believe that Alabama will lose to anybody until it actually happens. Then you have Ohio State, Clemson, who's going to, just nuclear waste to the ACC, and Oklahoma, who already beat Texas once, will probably have to do it again later, but that is what it is. So and even then, it's like the other 2 teams that make the playoff don't really matter, because yes, right now Ohio State's ahead of Clemson, but if you don't think that it's going to be Clemson, Alabama again when we get to, January, then I don't know what college football you've watched for the past 3 years. I think, and I'm not just saying this because they're my team, I think Ohio State's the best team in the country overall. I think that.
Okay, Greg. Mm-hmm.
I do. I believe that.
Okay.
We'll see. No, maybe not the best. Okay, let me put it this way. I think Ohio State can take any one of those 3 teams. And it wouldn't be that big a shock for me for them to beat Alabama. Or, I don't know, though, LSU, man. When they're good, they're like really, 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 really good, LSU. And
my problem with Ohio State is they haven't beaten anybody.
Not really, no. The tail,
Michigan State, but that's,
the tale will be told when they play Wisconsin. And, maybe Wisconsin wasn't even as good as we thought they were.
Yeah, well, they've got Wisconsin, then they've got Penn State, who's number 6, and then they're at Michigan to finish off the year. So they'll have wins of the resume by the end of it that they'll prove to be worthy enough. But as of now, it's like they're where they are based on name recognition and recruiting classes and all that. So I can't put them over
No, you're probably right. I probably got a little carried away with all the hype after they beat Michigan State, and everybody's like, if they brought out the rankings today, Ohio State would be number one. I'm like, well, okay, sure. Why not? So I'm fine with that. But we'll see in the first playoff ranking. But I think you're right. I think it'll stay probably about the way it is.
Yeah. I think we're not too far away from those, I don't think.
A couple weeks, I think. I think it was like November or something or other. 7
weeks in, so.
Yeah.
Should be coming up pretty quick.
But anyway, so how about my Green Bay Packers yesterday? Well, maybe not my Packers so much as their quarterback.
Jesus.
Yeah. A-Rod's with a pretty big day, making the Raiders come back to earth a little bit.
Again, nobody cares about my fantasy team, but I have to say this. I got 52 points out of that guy yesterday.
What he threw for 5 and ran for another?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Had a perfect passer rating. Hit 400 yards on 31 attempts, I think. It was nuts, whatever it was. He only had 5 incompletions the whole game. And it was just like, oh, my God, where's this guy been? You know? I don't think he can do this every week, but he had the right matchups yesterday, and he just was amazing. Because the Browns weren't on. That was our local game, was Raiders-Packers.
Yeah.
And I got to watch it, and I was just like, holy cow, man, is he really just taking it to him. And if I still did my best and worst list, that would have been my number one game, folks, in case you were wondering. So
yeah, as soon as I saw that on the highlight, I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, because you can't look any better than that in the NFL. You can look as good, but you're never going to look better. And it's just I love Oakland's road uniforms, and the Packers home uniforms are fantastic. But yeah, it was fun. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, the Packers are 6-1 now, but I'm still not. Like, I don't know. The NFC's kind of weird. I'm still not sold that they're like an upper echelon NFC team yet, believe it or not. You know, because they kind of haven't really played anybody either. When you look back at it now, I mean, they beat the Bears, but so what? They beat the Lions. They got some help with that, and I don't know. I'm not sure I'm there yet. As I think they're a playoff team, but they're talking Super Bowl contender, and I don't know about that yet.
I don't know about Super Bowl contender, but I mean, they're clearly the class of their division at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe the Lions will get them on the second time if the referees, let things play out.
The Detroit Lions could be right up there with them if the refs didn't severely fuck with that franchise on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, they've gotten screwed twice because of the referees this season already.
Yeah.
The Chiefs game. Which not really screwed by the referees, but in any other year that play's called down and it's not a fumble and the Chiefs don't get a return off of it. And then those hands, quote unquote, hands to the face.
That was some serious bullshit. I'm sorry, but that was just a horrible call. Horrible call.
No, absolutely.
And
I don't think there's any other way about it. The Packers were totally gifted that game when things came down to it.
Yeah, they were gifted the chance to run out the clock, which is there's no guarantee Detroit would have scored had they gotten the ball back, but any chance of that happening was gone when that bullshit penalty was called.
But I mean, either way, with the luck of the refs in that game or not, the Packers I still think have proven that they're still pretty good.
Yeah,
they're 6-1.
6-1.
Rodgers is clearly back to his old form, and it looks like he's getting more comfortable as time goes on.
Right.
New offense, new coach, all that sort of stuff. And the defense has still been decent, and I know that's something you maligned for years when it was under McCarthy, that the defense was always so bad.
It would look tough at the beginning of the year, but as they've played better offenses, it's like it's still got some issues, but at least it's not as horrible. And the offense isn't nearly as predictable. It's not just give Aaron the ball and let's see what happens anymore. I mean, that's what Mike McCarthy basically let it de-evolve into, was just that we've got Aaron Rodgers, snap the ball to him, he'll make something happen. I mean, you can't win like that. And but I was happy. It was a great looking game. It was probably a little closer than the score would have you believe. I mean, I watched it. The Raiders played a pretty good game, but they just couldn't. When they fall behind, they don't really have a way to catch up. But and then Derek Carr made a really stupid move with that, trying to dive for the end zone with that ball in his left hand. That was really just an idiotic thing to do. But but it was fun. And the Browns didn't play yesterday, so I had a good weekend.
It's always a good weekend when the Browns can't lose.
When the Browns can't lose, you can't really beat it. And now they got the Patriots coming up, so next week is not going to be so good.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Lions. I think they're one of the teams that was very disappointing over the weekend to lose at home in a big way to the Vikings.
Yep.
Not a good pick for them.
Well, look at our boy Kirk Cousins. I mean, it was like everybody was on him horribly for the first 2 weeks. Now look at him.
Yeah,
he's. It's like, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear the Vikings aren't bad. I mean, they're 5-2, and they're. I still don't trust them enough, though.
You know what? They're good indoors, and I was like, oh, they're playing the Lions, but they're on the road. I'm like, the Lions will probably win. Then I forgot, that's an indoor game. Minnesota will be okay. It's when they're outside when they're not so hot. And the Packers have the same problem. You put them indoors against Minnesota, and they don't know what to do. But Cousins is playing really well, and they got a big road win last week too against someone I can't remember. And it was the Giants, I think, or something like that. So it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
Or the Redskins, I don't remember, but we'll see. I think the Lions are still, what are they now, 2-3-1 or something like that?
2-3-1. Yeah, that's a rough mark to fall to.
Yeah.
Again, especially in that division with, the Vikings at 5-2 and the Packers at 6-1, and what are the Bears now? 3-3. So
the Bears aren't good.
The defense is.
I don't even think the defense is that. I think it's okay. They're doing what the 49ers are doing this year. They went 12-4 on the last place schedule last year. And that's how they pulled that off. I don't think they're that good. I think now they've got to play a real schedule. It's going to get a lot harder for them. I could be wrong. 3-3 is not bad considering that they don't have a quarterback at all.
Yeah. I know that their schedule still isn't easy, because they're playing with a division champ schedule.
Right.
And I know they go to LA later in the year. Which, take your mileage on the Rams, I guess. They looked good bouncing back.
The Falcons, continuing, my assertion, proving me and Keith Olbermann correct that they got to blow the team up because this team is too talented to be 1-6, but they've just got that stench of failure on them.
Yeah, they're probably too talented to be 1-6, but man, the Rams did everything that they needed to do, coming off that 49ers game. And did the Rams give up a lot to get Jalen Ramsey? Yes. 2 first-round picks.
Yeah,
is a good chunk. However, he looked pretty damn worth it against Julio Jones, man.
Yeah. Shut him down.
And Aaron Donald was able to get pressure up the middle, and the defense did everything it needed to do, and the offense looked back in rhythm. And like I said last week, playing the Falcons, got to get that win. They did it. Going to London, playing the Bengals, who are now 0-7, got to get that win. And then they have the bye week, and all of a sudden they're 5-3, and everything's fine. So, perfect for the Rams to go up against the Falcons team, who's clearly just struggling.
Yeah. They on Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal. They were like, are they the worst team in the NFL? I'm like, I don't know about that.
No, the Dolphins exist. So.
Yeah. The Bengals aren't anything to write home about either, but they're bad. And you're right, Mike. It's like it's been a steady progression. It's been amazing to watch, really, the Falcons.
I mean, they're the height was a 28-3 lead over the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and then they lost. They blew that lead. Next season, they're not as good, but they still make the playoffs, but they end up losing in the playoffs. They don't get back to the Super Bowl. And then since then it's been 2 seasons of just abysmal underperforming. So
yeah.
I mean, you've got to scrap everything, blow the team up, get new uniforms,
get new uniforms 3 years ago.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, get new uniforms 10 years ago. But
you want to be really honest, you shouldn't have changed from back in 1981. So whenever they were wearing the nice red ones.
This team. You're right, Greg. This team. It's been a slow decline, and this might be bottoming out. So yeah,
because I just look at them and they're just awful. They're just terrible. And I mean, I think Matt Ryan got hurt yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, late in the game, he kind of got rolled up on his ankle. And if he goes out and you have to turn to Matt Schaub, get ready for the tanks to start rolling in through Atlanta.
Also, according to NFL.com, the Rams are 6-0 playing in the Eastern Time Zone under Sean McVay. So.
Yeah, it's a weird stat.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to get tested because they go to London. And then they come back from the bye week, and then out of the bye week, they go play in Pittsburgh. So just a weird bit of scheduling. So they're going to go right back to the Eastern Time Zone. They're basically playing 4 weeks, not in the Pacific or Central Time Zones.
Well, yeah, I mean, the London thing, I'm so sick of these London games. Can we just stop with this nonsense already?
Oh, they sell out. They make money.
Well, yeah, okay, fine, I guess. But wouldn't they sell out if you played them in Vancouver, too, which is a little easier for a West Coast team than London? I'm just saying.
But what inroads are you making into the football community, Greg?
Well, I don't want to get into the whole discussion of putting a team in Great Britain, but, because that would just be so stupid.
Great British Columbia.
When are they going to play a game in Manchester? Why is it always London?
Because that's who they have the contract with. Oh,
all right. Because I think a Manchester game would be kind of cool, too, because that's a pretty big place.
It'd be cool to play it in different stadiums, but I also think because of when it is, I don't think Manchester United is going to take kindly to somebody tearing up their grass.
No, probably not.
For an exhibition football, or what they would take as an exhibition football game. Whereas, like what the stadium they now have where they play, where Tottenham plays. It's the same sort of system as the Cardinals have in Arizona, where the grass gets rolled out on a tray.
Right.
But for this Tottenham stadium, underneath the grass tray is NFL field turf.
Ah, okay.
So all they have to do is roll the grass out, and they have the field turf with the rubber pellets and the whole thing.
I was just watching this thing on the Smithsonian Channel yesterday about Northern England. And they did this long piece on Manchester. I mean, I knew of Manchester, but I didn't know just like how big it is. And then they showed the stadium. I'm like, wow, that's really, a really impressive place. I mean, I knew it was a big city and all, but I always thought of it as like older. I don't know why, but I always thought of it as like
no, Manchester's actually pretty new.
Yeah, and it's very, very modern, which it surprised me at how modern it was.
Industrial revolution kind of spurred on the growth of Manchester.
And now it's like this, they've got a building that's like it's like this huge building and it has zero carbon emissions. It's all like solar panels and stuff. I mean, I don't want to get too off track here, but I always thought of Manchester more like, I don't know, like I thought of Liverpool in the 60s. Just like this older place, industrial and all that, but it's really not that at all. And then it hit me. It's like, why does the NFL play here? This would be a great place to play. But now I guess I know why.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the two big stadiums for Man City and Man U, but it's the grass thing.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Like, it wasn't so much of a problem when the NFL was playing in Wembley, but even like there was a situation where. I think it was the national team, or I think it was last year when they were building Tottenham Stadium. They had to play. Tottenham was playing their games at Wembley, and switching between. There was a stretch where they had to switch between a concert, an NFL game, and a Tottenham football game for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and the grass got just demolished.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing, and it was really unfit to play a soccer game on. Because you can play an NFL field on a patch of dirt, as the Oakland Raiders have showed us. But for soccer, where the ball is rolling on the ground, you need the grass to be in a certain shape to work right. Anyway, NFL football.
Right. Not Manchester, Northern England.
No. Hey, the Buffalo Bills are 5-1 for the first time since 2008.
Yeah.
But they're 5-1, Greg.
I think if you go back, go ahead, Mike. I'll let you take this.
I was just gonna say, I don't trust this to bear any fruit whatsoever.
But it's real this time. They're in a playoff spot.
No, it's not because they have my irrational confidence. Of course, it's not real.
Is it really real though, Zach?
No.
Is it really real?
I mean, they beat the Dolphins.
Okay.
That would have been impressive in 1974. It's not impressive today. It might have been impressive when Marino was playing. It's not impressive anymore. I think if you go back to the preview, I think I even said like this Bills team's going to do it to us again. They're going to be like 5-1 after 6 games, and here they are. And in 7 weeks, we'll be talking about how they're 5-8, and I think that's what's going to happen.
I'm going to pull up their schedule. I'm just curious. I want to see how this goes.
And I believe me, I want the Bills to succeed. I do. I'm always, for what they did for us after the Browns left, I'm always going to have a soft spot for them. But I'm not buying into this. I don't know what do they have? They got a pretty good defense, and what else? A big quarterback.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's no Aaron Rodgers.
The Bills' schedule goes like this. They're home for the Eagles and the Redskins. Then they're at the Browns, at the Dolphins, home against the Broncos.
Oh.
At the Cowboys. I believe that's on Thanksgiving. Then home against the Ravens, at the Steelers, at the Patriots, home against the Jets.
Shit.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
There's a lot of winnable games in there.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe my irrational confidence is properly placed for once.
Like, based on the rest of what the AFC looks like, I have to think that they're a playoff team. When push comes to shove. Like, right now, the playoff standings in the AFC would be, you get the Patriots, Chiefs, Ravens, Colts as your division leaders. The Bills are leading the wild card hunt, and then after that, they have a 2-game lead over Houston. A 1.5 game lead over Houston, 2-game lead over Oakland, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Denver, Chargers, Jets, Bengals.
Yeah, I don't hear a lot of teams that I have confidence could catch them.
No.
Wow. Could they really do it this time? Well, they did it last year, remember? Was it last year where Andy Dalton got them into the playoffs? Or was that the year before?
I believe that was...
last year, right? I don't know.
It was the year before. It was the year before.
Okay.
Because last year was the Nathan Peterman year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're not going to make anything with Nathan Peterman, who we have yet to see this year, which is unfortunate. But I don't know, man. Listen to that schedule. I mean, I think they're 5-1. So they got 10 games. They go 5-5 the rest of the way, which I think is completely reasonable. They're 10-6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
And hey, they'll be a half game behind the Patriots for the division lead after tonight, right?
Yeah. Right.
Sam Darnold, come on, the truth.
Where is this game being played? Is this in Chowdville, or are they playing it in New York?
It's in New York.
In New Jersey, yes.
Huh. No. No, not doing it. Not even going to try it.
Jets beat the Cowboys the week before. Come on.
I'm not even going to try it. I'm not even going to try to lay out a path to victory for the Jets. No, they're going to get stomped.
Speaking of the Cowboys, they bounced back in a big way, just like the Rams needed to. Two teams, the Rams and the Cowboys, similar tracks. Both start 3-0, both go 0-3. They both have a pretty embarrassing loss in there, and then they bounce back with a 37-10 win this week.
Over the Eagles.
But that was for first place in that division.
Yeah,
that was a big game.
Everyone, I don't know. Like, this just proves to me I don't understand anything about what's going on in the NFC. Like, I don't know who's good. I don't know who's not good.
Right.
The Eagles looked really strong, last week, and the Giant and the Cowboys looked like garbage. And now the Cowboys win pretty convincingly. So who knows?
I don't know anything about the NFL except that the Patriots are good. After that, I don't know. Anything could happen.
And the Patriots are good, and the Bills are right behind them.
Okay.
Again.
Look, the Bills might make the playoffs. I'll even give them that. That doesn't mean that they're going to do anything with that playoff berth.
Right. I'm with Mike on that 100%. I believe me, I love the Bills. I do, but it's just like, I don't know what you do to make them a little bit better. I think they've got a good defense. And Did they score 31 yesterday? Well, against Miami. Okay, so you got to adjust that on a curve. So that's really like 17 points against anybody else. Plus, they ran back an onside kick for a touchdown, which is the first time that had happened since, I think, 2011. And
yeah.
So,
it was a tight game until that onside kick. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
No, I know. I'm just hyping up the Bills for fun.
Well, like I said, they've got my irrational confidence, which is always a bad sign. But they are 5-1, and like I said, listen to that schedule. All they got to do is go 500 the rest of the way, and they're probably going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's even a chance they might accidentally beat somebody they're not supposed to. They go 11-5, and oh my God, that place is going to go crazy. Mike, you think you're getting texts now? Wait till that happens. Notice how we've avoided Mike's San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers of Costa Mesa via the rec center, haven't we?
There's nothing to say about them. I'm saving it for last.
Okay. Yeah, they've headlined the past couple of weeks, and they just don't deserve it anymore.
There's nothing to talk about there. What there is something to talk about, I think, is the Ravens going into Seattle and beating the Seahawks.
That was surprising.
30-16. Russell Wilson has been, as much as we hate him, and as much as he's still the luckiest son of a bitch to ever throw a football.
Yeah.
He's been, having an MVP type season so far, and the Ravens went in and they shut him down pretty good. And Lamar Jackson actually outrushed the Seahawks for the entirety of the game with his rushing stats alone.
Well, here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about the Ravens. Okay, how in the world did the Browns beat that team and score 40 points on them in their own building? And then they go to Seattle, which I think is probably the toughest place for an East Coast team to play in the NFL. You know, and you've got to go from east to west. You've got to go all the way to Seattle to do it. I just don't know how you win. And they went in there and they just kicked their asses straight up and down. It was like, wow. So I don't know what to make of the Ravens. I mean, they hadn't beaten anybody. The Browns destroyed them. Looked like the better team straight up and down across the board. And then they go out and do this. And you go, well, all right, maybe they are pretty good. They're 5-2, right?
Yeah, both teams are 5-2.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of. I don't know. I guess we got to start taking them seriously because that's a big win, beating Seattle in Seattle and beating them by 14.
Really is.
It really is, yeah.
I was pretty down on the Ravens for the last few weeks, but that's a really statement character type win.
It sure is.
And I mean, they're clearly back, in control of the division there with the Browns and Steelers both at 2-4 and the Lowell Bengals still existing. Yeah, I mean, they're going to win that division. I don't think there's any way around that now. And now it's just, are they good enough to compete in the AFC? I mean, they're not going to beat the Patriots yet, but I would, of the other teams in the AFC, I would have to think. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs, so I guess you can't say that they're better than the Chiefs. But they're both those teams are 5-2. I think that's a closer matchup than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of those Chiefs, though, blow out the Broncos as they should. But if this Patrick Mahomes thing is for real, like he was already limping around on his ankle as it was the last 2 weeks,
right?
And now they literally, if you saw the video, they popped his kneecap back into place on the field.
Yeesh.
Oh.
Which is just not good. But they're being optimistic about his MRI and all that. But
yeah, they're talking 3 weeks. I don't know how you come back after that in just 3 weeks. And unless there's some shady stuff going on, which we saw with Ray Lewis, we've seen it happen before, so anything's possible. But when you dislocate a kneecap, I always thought that was a season ender, man, because that's like something that's not natural. Not that blowing out an MCL or an ACL is either, but that's really that's like placing a part of your body somewhere it's not supposed to be, and that's never good.
Yeah, Matt Moore came in and was their guy against the Broncos, and he will be going forward. Chad Henne, the third string guy, is on the IR as it is. So.
Chad Henne's still around?
Yeah, he's
wow. All right, we might have to re-examine our Cush's gig and football thing here now.
Oh no, the Chiefs have kind of looked shaky lately. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they beat the Broncos, but they should have done that. But I still think it's theirs to win because, Broncos aren't going to challenge them. The Chargers aren't going to challenge them. The Raiders were kind of looking good there for a hot minute, but probably not. So
No, I don't think the Chiefs are in danger of losing the division or anything like that, but clearly, like, the defense has just not been good.
No.
All year, and if Mahomes isn't 100%, they're clearly gettable. You know,
I don't know.
Like, lost to. They've already got a couple games that they should have lost on the record, but that ended up being wins, like Detroit and even what was the other game? Who did they play last week? I don't remember, but they're clearly not it's not a 1-2 juggernaut in the AFC like we thought it was going to be. The Patriots and Chiefs, because the Patriots have clearly separated themselves, and the Chiefs have their deficiencies that are being exploited.
Yeah, and you look at that team, like if the Patriots get home field throughout the AFC playoffs, which they more than likely will, I don't see Kansas City being able to go in there and beat them, especially if Mahomes isn't at 100%. And I'm sorry, but like I said, when you've got a body part that's somewhere it's not supposed to be, that's not good. Yeah. It's not an easy injury to come back from. It's like if your shoulder blade's under your collarbone, something's not right. And it's going to take a little while. So I don't know. I mean, I'm glad to see that it wasn't a season because that would have killed their season. But 3 weeks? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
these are their next 3 weeks, by the way. They'll have to win with Matt Moore. Packers.
Ooh, that would be another great uniform matchup.
Packers, Vikings, Titans. Titans are on the road. Packers and Vikings are in KC.
Packers.
They can win one of those games.
I think they beat the Vikings. I think the Packers. I don't know, though, because the Packers, this is something that they have done a lot. Well, they look fantastic against the team 1 week and then the next week come out and just fall flat on their faces. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Matt Moore-led Kansas City Chiefs just walk all over them. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. But
that's a big disappointment that we won't get Mahomes, Rodgers. That sucks.
Yeah, it's not that disappointing for me, believe me. I mean, I'd love to see it under normal circumstances, but man, I'm chasing that shareholders ring probably for my last chance before he retires. This is probably my best shot at it so far.
I mean, as far as the Chiefs go, best case scenario, Patrick Mahomes recovers, in a healthy way and he comes back. But like, this is the big problem with the Chiefs last season has only been, proven to be a worse thing this year is that the defense isn't good. And, you don't necessarily need that if you have a high-powered offense in the regular season. But what's going to happen when they eventually have to play the Patriots in the in the AFC title game or, even before then, hypothetically, like, I'm sorry, you can, Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball up, as many times as he wants. We know Tom Brady's equally as capable, and then it's going to come down to defense. And I'm sorry, I'm going to trust the Patriots defense over the Chiefs defense any day. Like,
we'll get to find that out on December 12th or December 8th. The Chiefs are in New England.
That's going to be ugly.
Mike, I would trust New England's second-string defense more than I trust Kansas City's starting defense. I'll be honest with you.
Plus, you always have, again, the coaching matchup. Who do you like in an Andy Reid versus Bill Belichick matchup? And it's not even fair.
That's like if I played chess against some grandmaster. I don't even play chess. I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
And like Andy Reid, you'd completely be ignorant of like the clock. So.
Yeah, I'd call timeouts at the wrong time. I promise you that.
So it's just a bad. I don't know. I don't believe in this Chiefs team, and like there's too many things going against them. You on in a good week, you've got, questions about the defense, and you've got Andy Reid, he's always capable of going full Andy Reid. And now, on top of that, you've got an injured Patrick Mahomes. So, like, the team's big saving grace, this high-powered offense is now in question. Like, is Matt Moore a bad quarterback? I don't think Matt Moore is a bad quarterback. I think he's a perfectly serviceable backup, but is he going to light it up like Patrick Mahomes is? No.
No, because nobody does.
Yeah, so it's – I mean, I have never been high on this Chiefs. I was high on the Chiefs last year, but going into this season, they never really addressed the main issues that I had with them, and I think those are starting to not only show, but now there are additional complications. So
The thing they don't want to do is they don't want to rush Mahomes back.
No, you don't want this to be a Robert Griffin III situation.
No, and it could quickly become that.
Yeah, if they put him in early and he gets hurt again, like that could end his career.
Yeah, they could just break him, and we've seen it happen. We saw it happen to RG3. I'm sure it's happened before that, but they're in a situation kind of like the Saints for him, where they've got to tread water with Matt Moore for a while and hope for the best. I mean, I say realistically, if he really did dislocate his kneecap, then I can't see any faster than 6 weeks. And I mean, I think that's even pushing it.
By the way, live Monday Night Football progress. Patriots are up 7-0. So
yeah,
has it even started yet, or they just spot them 7 and go fuck it just because?
It looked like that because the first drive was pretty damn easy. I gotta say.
There's no hope. I mean, I don't even know why we're talking the NFL every week. We already know this is like the NBA used to be. We know the conclusion here. We know where we're headed. It's going to be us.
No, there's a bit more intrigue because, for 4 straight years, it was Cavs Warriors. At least now there's some intrigue as to who gets to lose to the Patriots.
Right. Okay, so that's what we're talking. All right, I get it. All right, yeah.
So, but seriously, who else in the AFC? I mean, everyone. I didn't buy into it, but everyone else did. It's it's going to be Chiefs Patriots, and the Chiefs might very well be the second best team in the AFC. I don't know that for sure, but maybe they are. And I don't think they're even necessarily in the same ballpark. They've got too many issues. And yeah, I'm sorry.
I have to agree with that. It really looks like it's the Patriots and the other 31 after that. It really does.
Yeah. You brought up the Saints. 5-0 under Teddy Bridgewater with a 36-25 win in Chicago. They have one more game. They're hosting the Cardinals before the bye week. Not sure if Breeze is coming back this week or if they'll wait until after the bye. But
might as well wait till after the bye. They needed to get 3 wins out of those 6, and they got 5. So you're playing on house money, man. Sit them down until after the break. That's what
might as well just go 6-0.
Yep.
They're looking pretty solid.
I watched this game actually, and the score. The score is much closer than it was. Some of those Bears points came in garbage time. Yeah. The Saints had their way with Chicago, and I'm going to say this: Chicago's defense. I feel for them because they are a talented bunch, but they're getting overplayed each and every week because this offense is atrocious. This is the first time I've watched a Bears game since opening week where they played the Packers to open the season, and I thought the offense looked bad then. But watching, again, week 7, it's been 7 weeks. It's still not any better. Mitch Trubisky sucks.
Bad.
He's just awful. He is just he's doing checkdowns on 3rd and 15. What are you doing? And I understand that he's probably not calling those plays, but as a coach, that's the sort of shit you call when you don't have confidence in your quarterback to get the long gain. So
Sam Darnold's first pass attempt of the night, boys, is an interception. So
there you go.
An interception at the 10. So Patriots are going to roll tonight. I think it's hard.
Good. We won't have to talk about them next week. This will be great.
Besides the Patriots, I don't know if there's a team that's more complete right now than the Saints are.
Probably not. The defense is good.
The defense is good, and we thought that the offense would take a dip without Breeze, and it's been right up to snuff. I mean, they only beat the Jaguars 13-6 last week, but they've had games of 33, followed by a 12, followed by a 31, followed by a 13, followed by 36. So it's kind of up and down, but you got to think that once Breeze gets back in there, that offense is only going to be elevated. So if the defense is as good as it is, and the offense gets back to its Breeze heights, it's setting up for the Saints to at least get some redemption, as much as I would hate to see them in the Super Bowl. God, a Saints-Patriots Super Bowl would be the most insufferable thing.
You get Breeze Brady. That's all they talk about.
Breeze Brady, Belichick, Peyton.
Yeah.
You get it all. But
when was the last time we had a fun Super Bowl? Can anybody even remember? I mean, the Eagles beating the Patriots was kind of cool. That was fun.
Right, but we still had to deal with the Patriots of it all.
And the Eagles fans, which are not the sharpest tools in the shed.
I mean, the Patriots coming back from 28-3 was certainly a historic thing. I mean,
but again, the Patriots.
Yeah, like if the Falcons had pulled that off, that would have been awesome. It would have been like, this is great. But
there's Broncos, Panthers.
Yeah.
Nah, that was kind of a slog, though.
Yeah,
but
really
but the teams involved. Patriots, Seahawks, insufferable. Seahawks, Broncos sucked.
Yeah, that was over like on the second play.
Yes, you get the blackout game, Ravens Niners.
That was actually pretty. I remember that being a good game, actually.
34-31. Yeah,
that was
actually a pretty good game. Yeah, and that was the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah,
where once again Jim Harbaugh came up short,
as he always does,
as he did against Penn State.
I will just say it again, Michigan. By all means, give this man a lifetime contract. That's exactly what you should do. Because
I don't. God,
I don't even think they're our biggest rival anymore. I think Wisconsin is. I mean, as far as the competitive game goes, I think.
Greg, the passive-aggressive dance.
We get 2 homecoming games a year, and we have to play Wisconsin. That's the way I look at it now. I don't like it. Every year I go, okay, they can win this one. Until it's like halfway into the game, I'm like, no, not this time. Next year we'll let them win one. And it's just been like that since 2001, where I don't even know. I think our record's like in those 17 years, whatever it's been, in 18 years. I think one lost twice, maybe only once. I'm not even sure. But every year I'm like, okay, like last year, I think the Buckeyes were pretty much out of the playoff. I'm like, all right, yeah, let Michigan win this year. That way it'll, we don't have to worry about it. Then about the middle of the first quarter, I'm like, no, fuck that. We're going to take them again. We have to, and it's been like that every year with me. But anyway, I'm taking us way off course here.
As far as anything else that happened, the Colts beat the Texans in a big game in that division. But
told you the Colts are going to be good. You guys laughed at me. I said they're going to be all right. They are.
They're fine. I think that division just sucks.
Well, they're 4-2, and Jacoby Brissett's doing a pretty good job.
They're 4-2.
I'm not going to go along with Bill Simmons to say it's the Ewing theory. I think they'd be even better with Andrew Luck, and that's not a knock on Jacoby Brissett. It's just that Andrew Luck was really good.
If they had Andrew Luck, they'd probably be 5-1 at least.
Yeah, maybe even 6-0. Who knows? But
yeah, they'd be easily the favorites in the division. Just not even the same.
I'll tell you what, who the most surprising team in football is to me right now? The Arizona Cardinals are 3-3-1.
They won 3 in a row.
Yeah,
Kyler Murray finding himself.
Remember when we were like, they're probably not even going to win like 2 games, and they've already hit 3. So
no, that division now, they're only maybe a full game behind the Rams, because you got the Niners at 6-0 in one of the ugliest games I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that, but I heard the weather was horrific for it.
It was a torrential downpour. It's only the second time in the last 25 years, I think, that a team has covered the point spread without scoring a point. The only other team to do that was that horrific Monday Night Football game between the Steelers and Dolphins, played in similar conditions.
Right, yeah.
Then you have the Seahawks at 5-2, the Rams are 4-3, and then the Cardinals are 3-3-1. Like that's
Cardinals 3 in a row.
So, yeah.
There you go, Mike. Just make the switch now, man. You got a good young quarterback in Kyler Murray. You got a good running back in David Johnson. I don't know what else they have. That some dude named Redmond yesterday just went off for like 140-some yards and 3 touchdowns. Went to Fordham, which isn't bad. No, there you go.
And then just the team that you would switch from, Mike, last but not least, the Chargers. Not only did they get called San Diego in a ESPN app notification.
Jesus Christ.
They lost
this fucking humiliation Congo doesn't end.
Not really.
Tannehill in the Titans.
They lost to Ryan Tannehill, or as he is known in certain internet circles, the white Marcus Mariota. God, I don't even know what to say. I
don't think there is anything to say. I just wanted to point it out.
I'll say this: if Phillip Rivers had just run a quarterback sneak, they'd probably win that game. I'm just saying.
Phil, retire. All right, you don't deserve this.
No.
You don't deserve to go through this.
What? Okay, real quick, Mike. Let's say the Bears called tomorrow and said, "Look, you guys, the Chargers are fucking awful.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going anywhere with them. Trade us. We'll give you 2 first-round picks or 2 second-round picks for Phillip Rivers. Would you make the deal?
Yeah.
Just to get him out of there? I would.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think Phillip Rivers has a bit left in the tank for one more run. It's just not going to be with this team.
I don't even know.
There's so many things wrong with that France, like let alone the team on the field. I don't know why you want to be a part of all of that. Like, yeah, you get to play in a new stadium next year, but like,
dude, all that's going to mean is like there's going to be 60,000 Packers fans there instead of 27,000.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, they're going to be playing the Packers coming up in LA. Like, that's going to be the Steelers game on steroids.
Yep.
I don't want to have to.
That Steelers game was incredible.
You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Believe me.
I know.
That was awful. This is just the fucking worst.
These are the Chargers home games the rest of the way, by the way.
Pardon?
The Chargers home games left are home against the Packers, who travel well, home against the Chiefs, who travel well.
Oh, God.
The Vikings,
who travel well. And they travel well, too.
And the Raiders in the season finale.
Who already have a built-in fan base.
Playing against the Raiders in LA is just, I don't. God.
The worst one, Mike. The worst one to experience is going to be the Packers game, and I'll tell you why. Because you're going to get every Packers fan that lives in Southern California is going to be there, and those idiots in Wisconsin, they'll drive all the fucking way out there just to watch this team because they can't get tickets to Lambeau. So you're gonna. I'll be surprised if there's a single Chargers fan in that building when that game takes place. I really will.
I mean, you guys saw the picture of like the one Chargers fan, right? So, yeah, and
so good.
And you guys saw what I sent you guys. Keaton Allen's tweet, just shit sad.
Shit is sad. It really is. I mean, and it's like last year was so much fun because they were like this team, you know, that was rising up above all the I don't know what the words I'm looking for here. The thing, you know, all the things they had to overcome just to be good. And it was fun because it was like they're rising above all this bullshit and they're a really good playoff team. This year, they're just right back to charging like they always do. And it's like, what happened here? I don't get it. Because they didn't, I mean, I don't think they were a big candidate for regression this year. And I don't know, they're a pretty good team. And it's just like, wow, what happened? But yeah, we were talking yesterday, and you were like, I hate football. I said, it's only going to get worse from here because you got the Packers coming into town. And that's going to be ugly.
Yeah, no. Football is not fun. I don't.
Tell the snack bars all along the rec center to stock up on the food because they're going to need it.
This is hell. This is football hell.
You want to play mini golf, man? You better get it in before that crew shows up. I'm just saying.
I mean,
by the way, the Leafs.
You laughed, Greg. There is a mini golf course. The exit before.
Yeah, there actually is a golf course nearby.
Well, of course, yeah, of course. I know. You know, look, it's
part of the rec center.
Part of the rec center, yeah.
Just update. Toronto's leading the Blue Jackets 3-2. So,
told ya.
Yeah. Booyah, booyah, booyah. Go Leafs, go.
Is John Tavares still out?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. All right, anyway.
Also, not really relevant. I'm not even going to go over the results because they're so far from actually being discussed. But Canadian election going on as we record.
Oh.
So that'll be fun, I suppose.
Who you voting for?
I'm not voting for anyone because I'm not living in Canada.
Oh, you can still vote, can't you?
No, there's no absentee thing.
Really?
There's no, yeah, Canada.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't count.
Wow. Like, that's the one thing we do better than you guys.
So, yeah, we are not current Canadian elections ongoing. I'm not going to go over any of the results again, but just saying that if the polling for the past month or so is to be believed, we're basically heading for a tie, which will make no one happy. So, yay. Go democracy.
Who do you want? Is Trudeau up for prime minister? Or is that how it works?
Yeah, he's essentially running for re-election.
So would you vote for him if you were able to, or would you vote for the other guy?
Honestly, this time around, no, I would not.
Wow.
The blackface thing. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Justin Trudeau did a blackface thing?
You haven't heard about this?
No.
Justin Trudeau. Someone found.
Oh no.
So back in
it's pretty. It's not even like an accident sort of thing. It's like
back in 2001, Justin Trudeau, when he was a teacher at a private school in British Columbia, went to a Arabian Nights themed party dressed up as Aladdin wearing blackface.
Oh no.
And then that
not even like, a subtle bronzer to make him look like it was dark.
It's like full on shoe polish blackface.
Oh no.
Then so he comes out, right, and he apologizes for it, and he says, just to get out ahead of this, there's I did that at a talent show when I was in high school as well. And so reporters ask, all right, so are these it? Like, is this the extent of it? And he's like, yes. And then the next morning, a third case popped up. And so, yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Justin Trudeau blackface, that was a thing.
To do it once, you can almost go, okay, look, it was 18 years ago, different time. And, I mean, not that different, but different enough. It's not the greatest look, but maybe we can say, okay, it was a long time ago. But when 3 times? No, that's a pattern. Sorry.
And when he was questioned by reporters about it, he said this, which I'm not entirely sure how to take because it's very weird. He said, I have been more enthusiastic about costumes than is perhaps appropriate.
You think?
And when you say I'm more into costumes than is appropriate, I start to think, as Admiral would say, maybe we're getting into billable hours.
Yeah, maybe. We thought we had the market cornered on that kind of shit, Mike. What are you guys doing getting into our arena here? Hell, man.
I mean, not to get into a whole thing, but like Justin Trudeau is from Quebec.
Well, I don't know what that means, but okay. We should probably wrap it up, fellas, before we get ourselves in trouble here. So on that note, good luck with the Canadian election, Mike. I hope it turns out the way you want it to, and we'll see what happens next week, I guess. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, and anywhere else fine podcasting is available in your neighborhood. As always, thanks for listening. We will see you all next week right here on Basically a Sports Show.
Laters.